Welcome back, guys. We're up to part 3 of our Marshmallow chemistry series. Today we are going to look at aldehydes, ketones and esters. The first thing we're going to look at are aldehydes. The UPAC name for aldehydes is alkanals. So this may be confusing, but hopefully the naming conventions will help you as we go through. So aldehyde is the older title for them, and if you think the AL in front of aldehyde goes at the AL at the end of alkanal. Our formula for alkanals are R, C, double bonded oxygen with a hydrogen attached. So this means there will be a double bonded oxygen on the end of a carbon chain. The structure we have there is our simplest alkanal. This is methanal. The meth representing the fact that there is one carbon. The AN part is representing there are single bonds between carbons. And the AL is representing the fact that we have our aldehyde functional group. So the formula for methanol will be CH2O, as has one carbon, two hydrogens, and the double bonded oxygen on the end. So the next compound we're going to look at are called alkanones. These are very similar to alkanals, and the old term for an alkanone is known as a ketone. The main difference between the alkanals and the alkanones is where the double bonded oxygen is attached to the carbon chain. So the alkanals have the double bonded oxygen on the end of the chain, and alkanones have the double bonded oxygen in the center. As you can see, this means that the formula for an alkanone is RC double bonded O and a secondary R with a dash to show that it is different from the first. This molecule is the simplest alkanone we can have, called propanone. It must have 3 carbons so that the double bond oxygen could be in the center. The reason for the name propanone is 3 for prop and the -one part to show that it is a ketone. The naming conventions for both aldehydes and ketones is the same as the other hydrocarbons in the series. So at the moment you'll be able to see that we've got our first 3 aldehydes. We have methanal, ethanal and propanal. And the general formula for these, as shown before, is double bonded oxygen to a carbon and then to an R group. Remembering that can be in any length carbon chain or could be a hydrogen on its own. The next series for the ketones, this starts at propanone because it is the simplest. So you can see we have propanone and then after that butanone with the general formula R, C double bonded oxygen, R prime. The last things we're going to look at today are known as alkyl alkanoates. The traditional name, or the older name for these compounds, are esters. The name alkyl alkanoate will help you with remembering the naming conventions for naming these compounds, as both the alkyl and the alkanoate part mean something in their overall structure. So here we have the general formula, which is R, O, C with double bonded oxygen, R dash or R prime. That's again showing that's a different number of carbons. The first section, the R connected to a single oxygen, is the alkyl group, and the rest of the chain is our alkanoate part of the compound. So just like before, we have our marshmallows, and this is showing our simplest ester, methyl methanoate. So if we look at the formula for this compound, It has a carbon with 3 hydrogens attached to an oxygen, connected to a carbon that has a double bonded oxygen and a hydrogen. The carbon attached to the oxygen is our methyl group, and the carbon attached to the double bonded oxygen is our methanoate, so it becomes methyl methanoate. These become slightly harder to name when the carbon chains on either end are of different lengths. So what I'm drawing now shows a single carbon with 3 hydrogens attached to an oxygen with the double bonded oxygen and 2 carbons on the other end. So we have a meth group and we have an eth group. The first part that has the 1 oxygen is always our methyl or the alkyl part. So this will be methyl, and then the rest will be the alkanoate, so methyl ethanoate. What I'm drawing here now is the reverse. We have 2 carbons at the front, so CH3CH2 bonded to an oxygen, then bonded to another carbon with the double bonded oxygen and a hydrogen at the end. So with this one you'll see that the eth part of the chain is connected to the single oxygen, and the meth part of the chain would be connected to both oxygens. This would mean the name of this molecule would be ethyl methanoate. Thanks a lot, guys. That is us done for today.